Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to our today's session on facilitating digital transformation with integrated risk management, IRM, across the boundaries globally. My name is Manoj Patel. I'm based out of Munich, Germany, and I'm leading the EMEA Risk SC practice for ServiceNow. I have an experience about more than 20 years in enterprise legal management as well as GRC space. So welcome to our today's session, and let me walk you through in next couple of minutes the concept of the IRM and how we can achieve while implementing the IRM key business values. So let's start. So as we know, many enterprises are struggling with the burden of risk and compliance. There is a better way, I think, and I believe that is about the integrated risk management, IRM, and it should go globally across the boundaries. So what I mean by that, we need to overcome any kind of the silos to move across the boundaries. So there is a broad need for IRM that is not only driven by regulations. Like 20 years back, we had the regulation compliance management. We ticked the box and we were compliant or non-compliant. But it is also about to desire to gain a competitive advantage through sound risk management practices, quality, and the process improvement. So the cornerstone for the new market could only be a single platform that can facilitate integration across the organization, the third parties, and other partners, and even employees, and across globally, across boundaries. So we will touch base on key IRM domains. And we will also learn some of the key critical capabilities in IRM space for the digital transformation. So as we move forward, what we are experiencing every day, it's about the industry trends and the technology trends. So if we start with the industry trends, all about is nowadays digital transformation, right? Going through the digital transformation, there is a key risk that is arising from the transformation, and that is the business risk, right? That is addressed directly to C-suite and board of directors. And now, what one can do is, for example, to have a single platform to align and overcome the silos in an organization. Secondly, we need to have what we see here. It's a greater focus on the business access and the employees making risk-informed decisions. To give that kind of the capability, they need to have the real-time visibility, they need to have the transparency, they need to have the holistic view. So we need to connect the dots, and everyone wants that while going through the industry, while going through the digital transformation. The third trend we are, seeing in the market is about cost cutting, right? GRC platform consolidation is very, very important. So many organizations are, working on the different platform to go across the different capabilities that GRC provides. But if you have one platform, you can consolidate many pieces. So those are the key industry trends I'm, seeing every day while, meeting different customers across EMEA. Now, what could be the potential technology trends? So what we need to do here to focus on simplifying risk and compliance for the average employee with consumer grade experience. What I mean by that, we do use our cell phone, and we have many apps on the cell phone, and it is easy always, that any given time we can access and we can actually create a task or activity or order something, right? And that is a kind of consumer grade experience, and that needs to be done also in the business environment, whether it is done through the virtual agents, the chatbot, machine learning, whatever the case could be. While I was talking about the machine learning, we will see more and more that is one of the top technology trend in the world, that we will be using AI as well as the machine learning for any kind of the mundane activities we are undergoing every day. So as we move forward, why it is important and why the modern business is worried about all these elements listed here. Business disruption. pandemic. We are going through the pandemic across the globe, and there are so many other disruptions, caused because of the pandemic. If you look at the technology and digital risk, right, arising from digital transformation, what is our the workspace safety, right? Disconnected tools and system, because many organizations are using 100, 200, 500,000 tools. How they can communicate to each other? So those are the key challenges. So problem with those, all the challenges what we have today is everything what you see here at the bottom level in the screenshot, many manual processes, right? So there is no connection, collaboration, holistic visibility across the organization, across the boundaries. One challenge, because we are operating separately, we are of course having the higher cost for any kind of the operations. No transparency, because there are so many tools and technologies put in place, and we have the different silos across the organization, whether we are working from Lisbon, or whether we are based in London or New York. So looking at all the boundaries, there shouldn't be actually the boundaries, because we live in digital world. Poor decision makings, because you do not have the holistic visibility. And finally, it drives to the some business disruptions, and we need to overcome those challenges. So existing tools, technologies cannot keep up, right? So what happens then? Unproductive employees. I would like to collaborate automatically to my colleagues maybe in London. I'm based out of Munich, and also talk to at the same time my colleagues in Lisbon. For example, if I cannot do it, I'm unproductive, and that again drives us and the organization to higher operating cost. And at the end of the day, maybe if I'm connected, I have single platform, I have faster resolution times, but that is not the case. So I'm missing the deadlines. Everything I create and work on, it takes much longer. And that is at the end of the day, that is a kind of, the setback for any enterprise, whether big, small, medium, large, very large enterprise, they all go through this kind of challenges. So what we need to do? So we have to build a resilience organization with underlying risk, security, IT collaboration. There is no organization in the world can live today without IT, right? So we are totally and fully dependent on IT. Now, the question would be how we can how we can make better use of IT that we are using. So I have listed here three key elements of integrated risk management. One is about the prioritizing, right? So work based on the business importance, risk, and context. What is important for my organization at a given time? In the context, right? Maybe I am providing 1,000 business services to my customers, employees, partners. Maybe not all of them are important. Maybe not all of them are high priority services. So I have to somehow prioritize, right? Maybe only 50 services are important, and I have to take care of those 50 services as a first priority for my organization. We need to understand everything in context and what is the risk behind that if that service is not available, for example. Secondly, we need to become more resilient. We know pandemic, right? Many supply chain disruption, many services disruption. So what can be done? We have to have some kind of you know highly automated cross-functional workflows possibilities across all the organizational entities, whether it's in Lisbon, London, New York, Mexico, whatever the case could be. So we have to overcome those silos to have the better business resiliency with underlying operational resiliency, with underlying integrated risk management. And finally, we need to understand what we need to adapt, right? Through the effectively risk-informed decisions in real time, we exactly know what's going on in my organization. So that is an important point. So those three building blocks will always lead us to better integrated risk management, as well as also provide in our roadmap, in our journey to become better resilient, right? So as we move forward, what could be the integrated risk management key components? These are the some examples. It connects with the resiliency, the privacy, the vendors, compliance management, everything is connected. And that is why it is called integrated. So if we take some examples, customer service, IT transformation, legal and finance, employee experience, right? There are many more examples, but I'm just taking some basic examples. So if you go to first one, the customer service, if we are providing our customers some services, they would like to know what kind of the privacy data, their data subject rights needs to be respected and what kind of their privacy data we are using, we are transferring, right? So also that side, what we need to do, we have to conduct the market risk in that case. So that is about the customer service that you can only achieve if you have also, the connected dots that are listed here across the organizational entities. As we move forward, employee experience, what is about the ethics and compliance? That needs to be done while we monitor continuously any kind of ethical activity with underlying regulatory impact. So we have to be compliant with many, many regulations, and we need to monitor if there is a change, there is a deviation, there is an anomaly, what could be the potential impact on our organization. Also the workforce resiliency. Let's take the example of pandemic, right? So we are working all from home, and how resilient we are becoming nowadays. So we need to measure also the effectiveness and workforce safety. Are we protected correctly? Do we have the inner PPE and many, many more items that touches the employee experiences. If we go to the legal and finance um, domain, there is also about many, many changes in financial environment, the market changes. You need to comply with many financial regulations like the SOX, right? So if you are monitoring those regulations for a given change in real time, it will provide you real time risk visibility for that particular financial management activity. And same with, privacy risk and compliance management that are related to your legal department. And finally, if we go to the IT transformation, all about digital, right? And taking a very simple example about cyber risk and security controls. So, of course, each and every organization has a firewalls, anti-virus, and many, many other, the protection mechanism put in place. But nevertheless, we still need to monitor any kind of, let's say the vulnerabilities that are existing or any kind of security breach that might have an impact on our risk, on our corporate risk. So that is another example. So if those all elements are connected, integrated, it will provide you the holistic view. And that is the most important for an enterprise or an organization. So as we move forward, how we can do it? We need to, create some kind of starting point. What we need to know, we are not in Greenfield. So the first thing what we need to do is evaluation about the current compliance and risk maturity. How mature are we, being honest, in our own programs, processes, and technologies? The level of the commitment to change, and also, the considering the risk tolerance. That is the one thing. The secondly, you never can be successful if you do not have the executive sponsorship, right? Executive sponsorship is needed in any kind of initiatives. And IRM is not a nice to have. Nowadays, IRM is a must to have. So that is also very, very important point. The third thing is we need to make sure that we have put in place some foundational elements, right? It is all about the strategy. What is the governance structure? What are our business objectives? And how we can support them. We need people, we need resources, we need skilled people. Then the processes we need to put in place. And at the end of the day, we are not going to do it manually, right? Because we cannot. So we have to have some kind of technology put in place. And finally, we need to make sure when we implement something, when we kickstart something, what are the key initiatives within one project can provide us maximum business value. So what could be the maximum return on investment, right? Whether it's about regulation, department, or initiative we are starting with. And if we, look at those 4 simple steps, you will see immediate benefits for that. Now, some of the key steps for IRM success, what you need to do, business case, of course. That is a very, very standard. And, starting with a business case, what could be the key initiative context? So we need to define the inputs, the processes, technologies, etc., and the outputs. What are we expecting, right? What are the success criteria? Second thing is about preparation. So we need to 100% make sure our people are trained, that they are aligned with our initiatives, right? That is also very, very important. And we need to know who are the owners in given, the journey while implementing IRM. So the owners are important, sponsors are important as well. Planning, do some exercise before you implement and go live and do everything in production. So that is very, very important, that the team must be put in place, and what are the key elements we are using to support IRM. Also, we need to define in the plan for testing, right? What are the key domains within the GRC we are going to implement, whether it's about policy management, compliance management, risk management, audit management, business continuity management, third-party risk management, you just name it. But at a given time, you need to start with at least one, right? Collaboration, we just discussed, and that is also the theme of this conference. We need to work without silos. We need to look beyond the boundaries, and we need to collaborate across the globe, across the boundaries. And that is very, very important. And finally, it is about the handover. We need to document everything, what we have done so far. If we see there is improvement necessary, required, we need to do improvements and then put everything in the production. So what are the key takeaways with, these key highlighted IRM initiatives? So if we go here, the main point here is you cannot achieve an integrated landscape without breaking down the silos. You need to look beyond the boundaries. Most important. Is there any possibility we can deliver it today? Yes, there is, right? We live in the digital world. Secondly, that will increase the productivity, as well at the same time, it will reduce the costs, right? You have the better possibility to improve the prioritizations, the decision making, and also the performance. And that way, you can also minimize disruption. So those are the 4 key value propositions why, putting in place the integrated risk management initiative. I come to a conclusion now. So what is the conclusion and why it is important? So what is IRM about and why it is important? So digital transformation is a critical component. We are going through that. And it will, even in next couple of years, 5, 10 years, we will still talk about the digital transformation, but with more support from AI and ML, right? And that is going to support us, with the rapidly changing world of the business. That is why it is important. Secondly, the value. What kind of value we can achieve? Digitization, it embraces technologies. It empowers people. It enables cross-functional initiatives, and it provides more enjoyable work. So those are the key values, right? And also it creates efficiencies and cost savings. How we can do it? So a robust IRM program is important that is based on single platform that connects the dots, connects the different domains, connects the boundaries. And that will provide us an integrated view to manage the risk management, right? And it goes through such kind of program, a kind of the first step towards a safe and successful digital transformation. So coming to the last point, it is all about why it is important. We know we are going through the digital transformation. IRM is one part of the digital transformation, and it can provide us really good, high business value. And to do that, we need to make sure that we are not working in silos. We have the platform capabilities, and all the applications on the top are there to do my daily job. So that said, if you have any type of questions, you can submit the question. I will take later questions, but I just wanted to thank you for your time today and your interest. And you can find me if you want to connect. You can also drop the questions. Thank you again. Have a great conference and a good day. Thank you so much.